Hey there, welcome everybody to another episode of the RocketMSP Podcast. I'm Steve Taylor, I'm your host, and today I'm joined by Chip Reeves from Bigger Brains. Chip, thanks for being here, man.
Hey, Steve, it's great to be here.
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of people probably know your company and probably recognize you thanks to you being in many of the videos that you guys make. But fill us in, 10,000 foot overview. What do you guys do?
Sure. Well, so my background is in IT. I started three or four VARs slash IT consulting firms slash MSPs over the years. And in 1999, I started Computer Troubleshooters USA, which was a franchise here in the US of IT service providers, later MSPs. We were a partner of Computer Troubleshooters Global, Computer Troubleshooters Australia, and did that for a number of years. So fast forward to 2011, and we have about 450 locations around the world. We have a training platform that we've built inside Computer Troubleshooters to train all of our franchisees, teaching them how to run the business, how to market, stuff like that. And we're looking at, my job as franchisor is basically how do I help my franchisees, make more money, run a better business, have more revenue, more happier customers, all that kind of stuff. And so we're looking at, our business model. We're looking at our vendor relationships. We have the spam vendors and the cloud vendors and the antivirus vendors and everything. And one of the things that came up was we really didn't have a good solution for training. And it's not that we were getting a huge number of requests for it, but we were getting requests for it. Customers from time to time would ask for help learning Excel or learning QuickBooks or learning Windows and things like that. And we didn't have a good solution. Now, some of our locations had tried making a classroom. I know I did with one of my locations. We built out a classroom for a while, and we tried to advertise classes, and we'd have Windows training, cybersecurity training, HIPAA training, things like that. But the classroom training model is very different. I know some people have been successful with it, but my experience was it was really hard to do because people are always, you schedule it in the afternoon and they're like, well, I'm busy, you should do it in the morning. You schedule it in the morning and they say, well, I'm busy, you should do it in the afternoon. It was just hard. And so most of our locations, when a customer asked them for training, or even when they saw an opportunity, like a customer that's struggling with something, particularly a new technology like Microsoft 365, they didn't have a lot of options. They might point them towards the local community college or maybe a training center. Some places might do some one-on-one training, but frankly, at consulting rates, if you're charging $150 an hour for service, that's a good price for service, but that's a little high for what customers are willing to pay for tutoring. So it was a struggle, and so we had this idea of taking that same training platform we were using internally to train our franchisees, filling it with classes on the kind of things that our customers would care about, Microsoft training, QuickBooks training, HIPAA training, cybersecurity training, and making that something that our franchisees, that our MSPs could offer out to their customers. And about that time, it was a good time for me to exit Computer Troubleshooters. And so I took that idea, and that's basically what Bigger Brains became. So Bigger Brains is just that. It's a training platform that MSPs can use to offer training to their clients.
That's really cool. And I'm going to switch sides with you here. Excuse me, pardon me. Here we go. All right. So you started Bigger Brains, and now today you've got, millions of videos and dozens of subscribers, or is it the other way around?
It may be the other way around.
How many videos do you have up there today?
So at the moment, I haven't checked the database today, but we generate 3 or 4 new courses a month. Every course is between 5 and 30 videos. So last time I checked, we had about 3,100 videos in 185 courses.
That's amazing. So with you having that many courses, I feel like the problem that people are going to run into is like this choice overload. Where do I begin? Like, And I think, when I sign up for things and I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to do all this cool training. I'll sign up and then I'll get logged in and it's like, oh, we could teach you about sales and we could teach you about marketing. We could teach you about teams and this and that and how to tackle an intruder with a gun and whatever else you guys have, right? I'm like, man, I want to watch all of these. And then I just end up not watching any of them.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And the industry, speaking about like the e-learning industry, the online training industry, there's always this kind of tug and pull between wanting to have enough content that people who want to self-select something can go find something they're interested in, and not overwhelming with too many choices. There's a big trend, especially in recent years, towards curation. Trying to limit the number of topics that you're showing to a customer to the ones that are relevant for them, and that can mean different things. It may be something their manager picks out. It might be that if for example a company is migrated to Microsoft 365, which is kind of one of the bigger ones, that their IT person has picked out, take the OneDrive Essentials course and the SharePoint Essentials course and the Teams Essentials course, things like that. Or there's going to be some new technology. It's not out yet, but Microsoft is actually adding functionality to Microsoft Teams in a product called Viva Learning that's going to be coming out later this year, that's going to use some of that Microsoft Graph, that Microsoft AI inside Microsoft 365 to, based on the user's role, based on the types of posts the user's interacting with, based on the documents the user's accessing, to recommend courses to the user from things that other people in the organization have used, for example. We're not entirely sure what the pricing is going to be on that yet, but it's kind of a goal that everybody's working towards. We are as well, in our own small little way. We have a Teams app. Ours doesn't have the AI piece, but we do have the ability for managers to choose, or again, IT consultants to choose what they want those end users to see.
So getting them to see it in their portal is one thing, but how do you actually get them to watch it?
Cattle prods work well. No, it varies a lot from company to company. I mean, what we find is that there is a desire to learn generally. I mean, there's a lot of studies that say particularly younger workers are more likely to leave a job because it doesn't give them opportunities for training. It doesn't give them opportunities to improve their skill set. And so there is a demand from employees who want to increase their skill set. A lot of it is passive things like making sure they have time. Again, this is something else that Microsoft's going to be doing right now. If you are using Microsoft 365, you might be familiar with these Microsoft Analytics, and I forget the name of it, but you get these emails where Microsoft is grading you on how much you respected your focus time, how much you worked outside of working hours, things like that. It's all kind of focused on employee wellness, and it's using things like Outlook and email and calendar and Teams to kind of gauge your activity. Well, one of the things they're going to be adding to that is learning time. So if you did not spend enough time during the week learning, then you'll get basically a passive recommendation on that. It'll kind of give you a poor score on your employee wellness analytics email that you get every week, and that's also rolled up into a management report as well, so that managers can kind of look at how well their employees are doing, both from an overwork perspective, an employee wellness perspective, a focus time perspective in terms of not spending too much time on busy work, and now coming soon on this learning perspective. So we'll see. There are certainly some cases where training should be mandatory. That's primarily with sexual harassment training. That's a law in several states, and generally recommended by insurance companies and others. And the thing about that is, when you've got required training, which often sexual harassment, you mentioned active shooter. That's another one that's often either highly recommended or required for certain companies. Certainly HIPAA training, and lately cybersecurity training. When you've got something that the company is making mandatory, there's a real tendency, at least there has been in the past, to buy just something cheap to say we did it, right? So the insurance company has told the management team that they need to do sexual harassment training for all their employees. And so the first thing they do is go to YouTube and see if there's anything they can get by with for free. And then they go and look for the cheapest possible training. But what happens is the employees who take that training hate it because it's poor quality, it's hard to follow, it doesn't make sense, it's not relevant. I mean, we hear all these kind of complaints about it. Bigger Brain started at the beginning from the idea that we don't want to be that sort of check a box training. We don't want to be the kind of training that only exists because employees are forced to watch it. We want to make our training engaging and interesting and fun, but also effective so that people want to spend more time taking our training. They want to spend more time improving their skills. And they don't feel like it's a punishment to have to take the sexual harassment training. So we for a long time we focused more on the IT skills. We had a lot of Microsoft training and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And when we did our first sexual harassment course a few years ago, we had a great creative team to put that together. I'll take no credit for it at all. They did it all. But I gave them 2 instructions. I said, number 1, I don't want the usual cliches. I don't want the creepy guy massaging somebody's shoulders. I don't want that. And number 2 is it's got to be engaging. It's got to be enjoyable and realistic. And I think they did a really good job of putting that together. They have these 4 characters that are walking through different scenarios of not just how sexual harassment affects the individual, but how it affects the company, how it affects the department, how it affects other people in the organization. It's a really cool video to watch, and there's some good jokes in there, so it's fun to watch also.
So, I want to talk to you about kind of your company overall, maybe some technical aspects of your company. So the neat thing is, usually I'm I've got guests on that they're trying to talk about their cybersecurity platform, antivirus or email filtering, or whatever other like tool that we need to use to offer better services, whatever that is, right? But yours is considerably different. In fact, you partner with some of my past guests, like Envirosoft, I think you might partner with.
Yep, absolutely.
Gosh, there's that other platform that I think kind of competes.
Yeah, Desk Director and Cloud Radial are both in that same space.
Yeah, so I think Cloud Radial, I know you're partnered with. Are you also partnered with Desk Director?
We are. In fact, that was our first partner in that customer experience space.
And they were also the first kind of company in that space, though. So that would make sense that they were probably ahead of the game. I don't know what they're like these days. I have not had an opportunity to speak with them. So what's really cool is, when you're partnering with these companies, so let's say an MSP signs up for Cloud Radial. I'm just going to use them as an example, only because I've got some colleagues that are using it. They get access to some of your videos, and it's just included.
So with Cloud Radial in particular, they do it a little bit differently than some others. They have access to when you and I haven't used the product, and I sold my last MSP 3 years ago now, so I haven't. They weren't around when I was doing it. And I don't fully understand how they offer it, but I understand that they have some of our training, a limited number of courses that are included in their base product, which is great because it means that any MSP who's using Cloud Radial can automatically brag about including end user training, and that that's a big bullet point for some clients when you're going in and pitching your managed service plan to a customer. Nowadays, it used to be that introducing managed services to a customer was a new thing, and oftentimes it still is. But many times you're now pitching against their existing managed service plan, or you're pitching against somebody else who's trying to win their business and their managed service plan. So how does your offering stand out against the competitor's offering? A story that I've told a million times, so some of your listeners, I'm sure, have heard it too many times. My last MSP, we bid on an account with a local nonprofit here in the small town in South Carolina where we are, about 45 users. We did not expect to get it. There's only 2 MSPs in my town, us, or my former MSP, and one other one. And we knew that this nonprofit was a happy customer of the other MSP. We assumed that they were, bidding out to us because it was one of those rule things, right? We have to put it out
Hmm.
in bids and everything. We did not expect to get it, but we did. And they told us later that one of the reasons was that we offered training, that we included end user training because they're a nonprofit. They have a lot of volunteers. And
Hmm.
so they don't really have the office training that you might look for in an employee because they're
That's really
volunteers. So
cool.
what are you going to do? So us being able to offer that training was a big factor for them. I think that's the nice thing with Cloud Radial is you can use that bullet point even if you're just a base customer of Cloud Radial. Now you only get a few limited courses with the base subscription, but then there's an upgrade course if you want to add the rest of the library to your Cloud Radial portal. The other nice thing about all those packages, or all those vendors, Cloud Radial, EnviroSoft, and Desk Director, is that it's a one-stop shop from a customer experience perspective, right? You're not having to give the customer another website and another login to remember or another link to keep up with or another app to load onto their machine when they have that customer experience portal already available on their machine, whether it's a system tray icon or a bookmark or whatever, where the customer is going to open tickets and interact with their IT team. Right there in the portal is access to the training library. So no additional logins, no additional apps. It's all right there. That's a big thing for training because like you talked about, people don't always jump at the opportunity to take training. And if there's too many hurdles between them and the training, then it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to kind of
Hmm.
give up. So having it one click away is a fantastic user experience.
Absolutely. And the one thing that that I wish I could get somehow, and this is me just dreaming out loud, okay? So whatever. So I do a lot of my video watching in bed.
Mhm.
So when I'm finally going to take time to sit and kind of like learn something,
Mhm.
I do it from my iPad in bed
Mhm.
because by the time I'm ready to do it, it's like, 11 o'clock at night. And I'm finally like, all right, I'm ready to wind down. I want to put something on the watch, but not something that like is going to, I'm not trying to watch, some awesome show that's going to keep me up. And then I'm going to be like, I have to watch the next episode now. Like, so I end up watching like documentaries about the Bible or whatever else.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's nice to fall asleep to. I fall asleep to Joe Rogan a lot. So not that he's boring. It's just, I put it on, I watch, and eventually I listen, and then eventually I wake up. I'm like, oh, well. And so I call it learning by osmosis because it's just
Yeah.
it's still happening. Um, so my point is though, like some of these things that I sign up for, it's really kind of a pain in my ass to access them
Mhm.
from my iPad.
Mhm.
Uh, I can't even name names. It's not because I don't want to. It's because like I'm just sitting here trying to think like what is the last thing that I tried to like do? And I think at this point I've kind of given up on some of these training things that I could be doing. I've got a bunch of videos that I should be watching on how to use like Kajabi and how to use Webflow better because I'm doing Webflow web design for some clients. Um, but I can't. So like I watch what I can on YouTube
Mhm.
and that's where I get most of my stuff. So like if I knew that there was an app where I could open this app and I can say, I want to watch stuff from this course, and we'll do the um not sexual harassment. What's the other one? The one with the guns. What do you call that one again?
Active shooter.
Active shooter. Thank you. Thankfully, I don't have to deal with that. Um, So active shooter. Let's say I wanted to watch that. I'm sure it's a course with several videos, kind of teaching
Mhm.
you different ways to talk the guy down and try to like just get that situation to kind of chill out, right? So I would love if I could put on a video, have it play, and then when it's done, it pauses like, hey, are you still watching? You got to click up. I'll reach up and tap if I'm still awake. And then it literally it goes to the next video. And if I'm not awake, now I know where I left off. Like that would be so cool if I knew like you guys have that. Because then I'd be like, man, I'm signing up as soon as we get off this thing. In fact, I see I logged while you were talking, I logged into my account. We remember the last time we got together, I was still doing this under MSP webinars.
Yeah.
And you created an account for me under the reseller section. And I think you gave me a couple free licenses. They expire on 6/28/21. So just in the nick of time, I'll play around with them. And so like I added myself as a member or something, however that works. And I'll log in eventually and like check this stuff out. 3/12/2018 is when you set this up for me.
Yep. I'm
way back then.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, the domain isn't right, the name isn't right, everything's wrong about it. It's fine. It's not your fault. It's not you, it's me.
I've been told that plenty of times.
So poor guy. So like I have no idea how your stuff works because I just assume there's not an app, and I assume it's a pain in the butt to try and do on an iPad because I'm so jaded about this stuff anymore. I just don't bother. I don't bother to try.
Yeah, well,
isn't that sad?
You've got a good point. I've been feeling the same way, actually. My situation is similar, except instead of the iPad, because my eyes aren't great anymore, I have the big screen TV with the Roku. And so, I would be very interested in taking a training course that I could get to via the Roku.
Now, hold on a second, Chip. I don't think you understand fully my situation here. So, I'm like next level lazy, okay? So here's what I got going on, right? I've got the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. And I've got one of those things that clamps to like headboard. And then it's got like this gooseneck thing.
Yeah.
And then it's a heavy duty one because it's the 13-inch iPad, right? So it's it's like this heavy duty thing. I like gotta stretch it open and get the iPad in before it clamps its jaws back down. So I got this thing holding my iPad up, and it's about this far away from my face. So 13 inches or not, it feels like I'm in a movie theater, man. And then I put because I mean it's taken up this much real estate in front of me, okay? Like
sure. I got you.
And then I got the AirPods, and when you put both of them in, I think they're starting to do Dolby Atmos with this stuff. Like it's insane the amount of the ridiculous amount of stuff I can do in bed. That sounds so bad. It's insane. That I can lay in bed. My wife can be snoring away. I've got both my AirPods in with noise cancellation mode on, so I can't hear her one bit. And I could be watching a Godzilla movie or a Marvel movie, and it's loud. There's explosions, like it's and like, but nobody else has any idea other than the lights dancing on the walls in the room. Like, just yeah, it's a good time.
Well, see, I actually do something similar, but I'm going to ask you a question because I've always assumed that the AirPods would not be a good choice for nighttime sleep watching because the battery's going to die. But how long do yours last, and how often do you have to charge them up?
So I'll be completely honest in that I usually just do one at a time. Okay. And it probably lasts me about 2.5 hours.
Okay.
And then I switch. I mean, I literally, like, if I'm still awake, I'll just like put the other one in. I'll take this one out. It pauses because it freaks out that I took an ear out, but I just hit play and it stays connected, and I put it in the thing. And the reason that I like the AirPods Pro for this better than the original AirPods is because they've got the little rubber condomy thing here going on instead of just that hard piece of plastic jabbing into your ear. So I think I still have to like replace an ear every 3 to 6 months because I end up like rolling over and laying on it, and whatever happens between my head and this thing and the pillow, it like the AirPod works great, but the microphone gets messed up because like the thing that people don't think about is there's two mics. There's three mics. There's this one here. That is a room mic, another room mic, and then I don't know, I think this one's the talk mic way down here. And or something like that, right? So they basically have they've got two room mics to try and do the noise cancellation, and then they've got one of those mics are technically for talking. And it might be the one that's on the back that's for talking, or maybe it's for both. I don't know. I don't care how it's designed. I just want it to work, right? But every now and then people will start complaining that like they can't hear me at all when I'm using the AirPod and trying to have a conversation on the phone. Or I'll notice that like if I put the AirPods in not noise cancellation, the opposite, where it's letting everything through and it's amplifying it, like it's not doing anything. All I hear is but I'm not hearing the people. So obviously I'm doing something to it, you know? I just don't understand the how or the why, because this one's a mic. This one's a mic. Oh, and this one right here, I was wrong. This one here is just the sensor to tell it that it's in your ear. So it has the mic on top and it has the mic on the back. That's all it has.
Still.
And then as soon as I cover this sensor up, it puts itself into that other mode where because now it thinks I've got both AirPods in. And that's the other thing. Like sometimes when I've got one AirPod in, the quality sounds like I'm calling you from like you're talking to me on a telephone. But if I were to put two in, now it's like high fidelity. It sounds like you're talking through a nice mic. I'm still not going to put two in, but because I'm all about not having them like go down. I'd rather just use one, be able to hear clearly what's happening in my ear, and then have another one ready to just swap out whenever I need to. Because it also, like when you're just watching a movie, the battery lasts differently if you're in just regular mode versus noise cancellation mode versus the transparency mode. That's what it's called. Versus being on a phone call, because they use the microphones differently, and the phone call is the one that uses the mics and the battery the most.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah,
I would not have expected that.
They put a lot of time and effort into some of these things, and I mean, can you blame them? They charge $250 for these headphones.
Well, and see that's why I'm cheap, and I have the off-brand. Where is it there? I have the little off-brand earpods that mine are not nearly as fancy as yours, and I mean they work.
Like I would totally buy like Anchor. That company makes some cool stuff, man. Anker, shameless plug, right? I get no commission for that unless I give you an Amazon link. So they make everything, man. They make the battery packs, so you don't need Mophie anymore. They make new bricks. They even have a brick. It's a 20-watt brick. It's the same size as that iPhone charging cube that used to come with the iPhones. And it's a 20-watt instead of a 5-watt. I mean, so that's what I mean when I say they make some impressive stuff. They've got several brands, so they also make like a couple of portable projectors. I mean, for somebody that is all about having like the best of the best, they're probably not great. But for somebody that just wants to have a projector on the side of their house for kids to watch a movie or something, I bet it's fantastic.
Yeah. For the price, it's good.
Oh yeah, and then they've got headphones that literally look like iPhone, like they look like AirPods.
Mm.
They've got like a few different styles, and I think the most expensive ones might be $100. The difference, the reason I don't go with those and I stick to the AirPods is I just love the way that they move between my devices as I move devices. So
Mm.
if I'm having a conversation with you here and then I get a phone call and I decided I wanted to answer it, I could boop, answer the call, and now I'm talking to the phone call. I don't hear you anymore, but I can just switch like that. I mean,
That's pretty cool. I didn't know you could do that.
yeah, it's seamless too, man. I can be on my iPhone and then I get in bed and I can put my iPhone on the charger. I've got the new one, so I've got that um
Oh,
the
MagSafe.
MagSafe. I got the MagSafe dock. I got that Belkin, that stupid expensive Belkin one. So I can put that phone on there, lay in bed, turn on the iPad, and my AirPod just automatically connects to it. It just knows.
Yeah.
So it's just the dumb little like UX type stuff
But
that's why I'll stick to the AirPods. If I could justify it, I'd buy those stupid AirPods Max because they're even better.
I
Those
mean,
they're like
that's what Apple's always done well, right?
$550, man.
Yeah, Apple's always had the user experience part. I mean, that's always been their strength. But speaking of which, we don't have an iPad app, but if you have Microsoft Teams on your iPad, you can access our training through Teams.
Okay. Now, what if you're a Slack user though?
One of our apps works with Slack, but our training courses are not available in the Slack app. Sorry.
All right. So for the people that are like on the Microsoft, kind of the whole Microsoft infrastructure, then they can get to your stuff pretty much from anywhere. And I mean, obviously, you didn't make Teams, so I don't know how much control do you have over the user experience with Teams once they're in like the bigger brains area.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Inside the Microsoft world, and this has been kind of a learning experience for me because I've always been on the service and consulting side, never software development or anything.
Right.
But there are programs and requirements for say designing an app for the traditional desktop office. We used to have a way, and we can still activate it if somebody wants it. We used to have a way where you could watch our courses inside like Microsoft Excel. So the idea being that you could be inside Microsoft Excel, have a question on how to do something, click a button in the toolbar, and our course would open to the relevant place.
See, that's the kind of stuff like you got to have that, man. Like, in my opinion, you guys should be putting like, yes, absolutely, videos to the forefront. But you guys should be starting to sink some serious development dollars. Like you should have an app for iOS, like all the devices, not just the because that's the other thing that pisses me off. I'll open up an app on my iPad and then I realize it's just taking up this little bit of the screen because it's iPhone only app. Yeah. So don't do that, man. You got to do it right. You got to design it for all of them. But then now, like, I've got an M1 MacBook. I can run iOS apps on my computer.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure it's all kind of like the same code. I think now you can have like one executable, if you will, and it works on all the different devices. So I think you can code something where you can deploy it natively to Mac, iPad, iPhone, Apple TV. Like, dude, why don't you have an Apple TV app that in the enterprise environment they can say, all right, customer service team A, you guys are going to do training on Thursdays at 1:00. Team B, you guys are going to do it on Fridays at 1:00. And they go to the conference room 3 and they turn on the iPhone app and they just watch a series of videos. Yep. Like, why don't you have these things?
We're heading that way. We up until maybe 9 months ago, We were very much a content company, not so much an app
Right.
company. So, I mean, we have the platform for MSPs. That was really the first and primary app that we built. And because that was kind of, the focus of the company in the early days. Today, we kind of do that. And we also resell through other training companies also. But
Sure.
the common denominator is these other training companies look to us for content. And in most cases, they look to us for software content. So, like, for example, there's training companies out there that do leadership training or that do safety training, but their customers will sometimes ask for, Gmail training or,
Sure.
Microsoft Teams training. And so we were
Which is
kind of,
great because it helps everyone.
right, right. So we were kind of the add along to that. So we were very focused on the content side of things. What really changed for us is Teams, because Teams has been so hugely popular, especially in the last year. And we actually made another app a few years ago called BrainBot, which is a AI-based chatbot app, and this is the one that does work in Slack, which was designed not to deliver training, but to work with somebody after they took a training course. There's this cliche that if you take a training course and you don't use what you learned, you forget 90% of it a week later. It's actually a lot
Oh.
faster than that. Your brain forgets stuff really quickly.
I'll
On
forget
purpose.
stuff before I leave the room.
That's, that's
What's your
right.
name again?
I'm no, but it's supposed to. This is something that I had to learn too. It's, if you think about it, if your brain remembered every parking space you ever parked in, every hotel room you ever stayed in, everywhere you ever put your keys, you would go insane. Our brains just aren't designed for that. So our brains are intentionally designed to forget as much as possible. And so the way the brain decides what's worth keeping are the things that it's been asked to retrieve. And so one easy way that you can teach the brain, like if you go take a calculus course and you walk out and you don't do calculus again for weeks, you've forgotten most of what's in the course, if not all of everything that's in the course. But if you have a chatbot that's asking you calculus questions every few days, it'll trigger your brain to say, okay, Steve's being asked to recall this. This must be important. I'm going to save this information because clearly Steve's going to need it. So we built the chatbot app to do that sort of thing. And that's a feature of some of our courses. But we were seeing so much usage on Microsoft Teams, we decided to build a Teams app for our courses. The interesting thing there is the part of our platform that delivers the training is not ours. It's a third-party app that we license called Litmos. And so we never had really the content delivery, the course delivery functionality. That was always licensed. But trying to put it into Teams, we had to build it. And now that we've got it, we've already started, as you say, reusing that code for other platforms. We're going to have a web-based version of that coming to the MSP environment actually in the next couple of weeks. And then it would be a piece of cake to take that same code and turn that into an iOS app. So I would definitely see us doing that before the end of the year.
Could I make a recommendation of a team that maybe you could just have a conversation with?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a small company. The website is Playlister, like playlist, but playlister .app. And I talk about it enough, so everyone here knows I do a lot for my church. Chip, I don't know where you stand on all that, but with one of the things that I'm in charge of is basically all the technology. So,
me too at my church, but go ahead.
Okay, so for example, we've got our kids ministry, we've got a MacBook, and they've got ProPresenter,
Okay.
and then they've got a TV and microphones and a mixing board, and sometimes they just don't have enough volunteers. So I started looking into some things because we use the Orange curriculum for our kids ministry, and Orange has a deal where you get a year of a screen for free through Orange. So at Playlister. So with Playlister, they basically all they use is all the content through Orange and then sometimes a YouTube video. So with Playlister, it integrates with Orange. So basically, like you get the two connected, and then you can literally just go, okay, I want to use week 2 of June. Boop, boop. Here's the videos. Here's the pictures I want to show, et cetera, et cetera. And now instead of having Pro Presenter, which is sometimes a bear to figure out. And then on top of that, they're running Pro Presenter 6. Our church has a license for Pro 7, a campus license. And like, I just can't, everyone's volunteers. So like, I just can't like get to the guy to get the computer and upgrade it to 7 and then show him how to use it because so much got moved around. So I'm looking at playlist. You're going, all right, so we get a screen for free. They sent me a free Apple TV to use. It's like a hardware as a service, so it's not mine. You give it back when you're done.
Gotcha. Yeah,
But you know, they sent us an Apple TV. They gave us the screen license for free, so we can literally get rid of Pro Presenter and the need for a computer, and everything gets programmed through the web browser. You just like build the playlist, you put it up into the TV. They have an app for the TV. You just open it up and boom, it's done. So I guess the reason I'm suggesting that to you is they worked or volunteered at a church. They saw a problem and they just happened to be developers and came up with a solution to that problem. I'm wondering if maybe they can just steer you in the right direction on how to come up with some, easier ways for, our clients, your clients, everyone's clients to utilize Bigger Brains. Not because I'm saying that your service sucks or anything like that, but what I'm saying, you've got awesome content. I mean, every time I look and see like, hey, look, they released this new course. Like, I still pay attention. I just never get to watch it because I don't want to be here to do it. So I guess what I'm saying is if your goal is to have the highest like user adoption rate and retention rate and all that kind of stuff, where it's not an MSP just giving the client another piece of whatever that they're never going to use, like when and don't take this the wrong way, but like if I were to sign up for Cloud Radial and they were like, oh, look, you get some content from Bigger Brains. I'm like, oh, cool. The antivirus I never wanted installed on my computer is here. Like, like,
so we're the AOL CD, and
you're not that bad, okay? But my point is, like, when it's like there, and like sometimes it's just kind of like there, but not really. It's like not in your face. Like with Cloud Radio, it can be in their face. So that was a poor example, but you know what I mean? Like, this, you sign up for an MSP and like, oh, look, another website that I'm never going to go to. Like, cool, thanks. I'll forget that login, garbage. Like, what? but if we could find a way to like, get them an app. Hey, install this on your phone. Here's an ID and whatever to get logged in. And another thing, Chip, I made my user account just now. I went in and I was playing, and I don't know how you guys feel about security, but I think security is pretty important, don't you?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so when I went and I created my account, I just clicked my password app and generated a random password with 128 characters like I always do, and I saw that I need to have a password with Bigger Brains that's at least 6 characters and no more than 20. Why do you limit me?
That is a good question. I will make a note.
Now I want 21 characters just to defy you.
I won't have 21 characters working, but no, that's a good point. We have an e-learning host, or e-learning. We have an e-commerce host that manages all that for us. I'll ask them why that's the case. That certainly should be better.
So it's what it is, man. I just wanted to give you a hard time about that. So So security is really important, Chip. I want to talk about some of your content here. I mean,
Mhm.
I feel like I've derailed us so much, and I apologize, but it's just so much fun talking to you, man. You guys do really cool things.
Well, thanks.
So, um, content. Do you have content that teaches my end users to be smarter when it comes to clicking on random things in emails and what to look for and et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, absolutely. And we have two cybersecurity courses. We're working on a third. Think Before You Click and Staying Safe Online are the two courses we have now, and they kind of ebb and flow as far as popularity goes. It's sadly true of several of our courses. You can kind of track what's happening in the news when like the
Mhm.
SolarWinds hack happens. All of a sudden, cybersecurity training shoots up. Colonial Pipeline gets hacked. Cybersecurity training shoots up. Mass shooting, active shooter shoots up. Big scandal with sexual harassment, sexual harassment. So a lot of our courses you can kind of track what's popular in the corporate world because that's kind of the knee-jerk reaction that the
Yeah.
corporate world has is, oh, these guys got hacked. What are we doing? Oh, nothing. Oh, trash. And so they push our course
Yeah.
out. So they're good. We're working on, like I say, an improved third one, but they're kind of different styles and different purposes. Staying Safe Online is designed to be really short. It's under 30 minutes. And kind of gets to the point about trusting, not trusting what you see online, how to set a safe password, how to verify a link before you click on it, things like that. And then we have more of our traditional style with Ken Dwight, the virus doctor. You might know
Oh
him. He's
yeah.
been in MSP programs as well.
He was
He
just
teaches
on
a
a
course.
few weeks ago.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so he teaches a course called Think Before You Click in our traditional teacher learner style. So his is a little bit longer. I believe it's closer to an hour. And they're very complementary, really. There's although they're talking about some of the same things, safe passwords, obviously, being mindful of what you click on and everything. The way they approach it is very different. So it's a very different style.
Now, with those being like 30 and 60 minutes, do those end up just being a single video course then?
Oh no, no, we don't allow any video to be more than 15 minutes, and really the majority of our
Oh,
videos are 5 to 8 minutes because
I
it's
like
really,
that.
yeah, it's very
And
much an
you know why I like that, Chip?
why is that?
Because when I fall asleep watching one and then
I
the
knew you
app says, "Do you want to watch the next?" Now I know I only need to watch 5 to 8 minutes to figure out what part I fell asleep.
and when you fall asleep, you've only got like 5 to 8 minutes to rewatch to know where you were
That's
when you left off.
exactly it, man. That's exactly it.
No, I get it. Yeah, I mean it's funny because the e-learning world has kind of argued a bit over this concept of micro-learning and how long is micro-learning, because everybody it's a big buzzword in our industry that everybody wants to say that their training is micro-learning, and any official definitions of micro-learning are usually like less than 20 minutes. But 20 minutes is a long time. When you're watching a video, it's a really long time. Even on YouTube, they say that any YouTube video that's more than 10 or 15 minutes is going to have a lot fewer views than a video that's 5 to 10 minutes. So that 5 to 10 minutes seems to be the sweet spot. We've had some companies that aim for shorter, but you get below 3 minutes and you kind of have a converse effect. People start to say, well, that was a waste of time, because by the time you get
Yeah.
into it, you're kind of, what was the point?
Because
So
every YouTube video, you can fast forward, through the first 2 minutes.
yeah,
Don't forget to ring the bell, like and subscribe.
yeah, yeah. And
Which, by
visit
the
our
way, guys,
sponsor.
don't forget to ring the bell, like and subscribe. Okay.
Yeah. And you can also do the watch faster thing too. The play at one and a
Yeah.
half speed or 1 1/4 speed, which you can do with our videos too. I'm happy to say, and that's been a real benefit too, because especially depending on what you're looking to do and depending on who the teacher is, I
Some
myself,
people talk a little slower.
see, and me when I'm teaching, you can tell when I'm nervous, because if I'm nervous, I'm talking way too fast. But when I'm not nervous, I talk way too slow for some people, and so you can jack it up to 1 1/4 or 1 1/2 speed, and it comes out just fine. Fortunately, I only teach about 10% of our courses, so that's maybe less. That's the good thing.
That's cool, man. All right, compliance. Do you have some stuff on that? Because there's so many kinds, right? HIPAA and uh, uh, PCI DSS and SOX, GDPR. The list goes on, right?
Yeah, so I mean, we have sexual harassment I mentioned, and HIPAA. We did our HIPAA courses in conjunction with HIPAA for MSPs, great organization,
Nice.
and we're looking at some updates to that as well. Those are popular. We've been trying to do a GDPR class for a while. One of our principles is that we need to have a subject matter expert who really knows the subject inside and out. Our average teacher has 17 years of experience teaching in whatever their topic area is. And so we haven't found anybody, particularly over here, that has enough experience. Obviously, GDPR hasn't been around 17 years, but we haven't found anybody here that's got enough experience in GDPR and also the COPPA, the California law. There's a few other ones that we'd like to cover at the same time as well. So we don't have that yet, but it's very high on our radar. We would love to make that happen sometime in the next few months.
All right. So when are you going to have a CMMC subject matter expert?
What is CMMC?
Exactly. So it's like so new. It almost doesn't exist yet. The government is working on a new like technology standard. So it's basically going to be like NIST but compliant, if that makes sense.
Interesting. Okay.
Somebody described it to me today as it's like GDPR but for the United States, and I don't feel like that's accurate because, and maybe in my ignorance of being an American and not over in Europe, I thought GDPR was like, I don't want to be on the internet anymore, and they have to erase you. Whereas CMMC is like, I'm going to have a firewall, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and all of these standards to where it's actually going to have compliance piece. There's going to be different levels. There's going to be an auditor. So like, yeah, for the people that are like, I'm NIST compliant, but I need more. CMMC is eventually where it's at. I'm surprised you haven't heard of it because there are so many CMMC experts out there that are selling CMMC compliance packages for $17,000 a month or whatever ridiculousness, and it's not even like it's like Wi-Fi 6. Like for a long time it was like, all right, we're beta testing this on all the routers right now. It's not officially a standard yet. Well, that's what CMMC is right now. Like we're still in the developing and testing phase. Like I don't think there's any official auditors yet, so I don't know why you're selling packages.
I do think in those sorts of areas, I do think Europe and the UK is ahead of us. And like when we started looking at the privacy thing, California just came out with their law, but GDPR is still kind of the gold standard. And so we're like, one of the things we had to do internally is make sure that everything we're doing, because we sell a lot into Europe and the UK, so we had to make sure everything we were doing was GDPR compliant. And mostly it was just kind of verifying some processes and kind of tightening down some of our back end stuff. But we're starting to see the same thing now. It sounds like what you're describing, the CMMC, as being is something very similar to what's called Cyber Essentials in the UK. And there's two Cyber Essentials programs. There's a Cyber Essentials standard, and then there's a Cyber Essentials Plus. And the Cyber Essentials standard is basically just a very minimal foundation that every business has to reach, basically saying, we require this sort of password infrastructure. We require this sort of, here's how our data is being stored. Here's the type of equipment we're using. Here's how we verify that all of our updates are, within 12 months or whatever of the date of the update. It's kind of very low level stuff. And it's also self-assessed. So it's basically you pay £300, you answer these audit forms. And if you answer correctly, then you are Cyber Essentials, certified, which is important because more and more what's happening is public sector companies, government agencies in the UK are required to only do business with vendors who are Cyber Essentials certified and whose vendors, who where their vendors are Cyber Essentials certified. So it's going multiple layers down. And it's the SolarWinds hack is really what kind of took, made that more of a priority, right? Because
Wait. What SolarWinds hack?
Oh, it was in the news. You should have seen it. No, but and then Cyber Essentials Plus is kind of more of it's more of a formal audit. They actually have an auditor that checks things. It would make sense for the U.S. to be doing something similar. To be honest, I'm a bit surprised we are. We're not usually that organized at a governmental level, and there tends to be all this fighting over, government intrusion, government oversight, privacy, and all this sort of stuff, which is why I think that Europe's always a little bit ahead of us. But if we are doing something like that, I think it would be a good thing, and we'll definitely look into getting some bigger brains. I was going to say computer troubleshooters. We're looking at getting some bigger brains courses for it as soon as we can.
Very cool. So I see what the reseller pricing is, and it's very reasonable. Mm-hmm. It says basic. Is there like a premium version?
Where does it say basic?
So in the reseller portal, if I were to click on licenses, it has a membership level. So I can buy basic monthly membership, and then all of them are basic, and they're all membership. There's also 2 months, annual, 2-year, 3-year.
Your portal is wrong. You're seeing the old interface. My apologies. This is what happens when I give you free licenses. You don't get the updates that everybody else gets.
That's hilarious.
Because we only have with the MSP program.
Well, it's cool because I'm going to access all 170 plus Bigger Brains courses. How many did you say you have?
185.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure enough, there you are. All right, let me apply that. Yeah, if you refresh your screen, you should see the new one. Yeah, your MSP pricing is actually about 10% of the retail pricing that you just saw. The per user pricing that MSPs pay is as low as 10 cents per user per month. Most commonly, MSPs pay $2.19 a month for 500 users, which is basically 45 cents per user per month. But there's plans starting at $19 a month. And there's also a free NFR plan for an MSP to try it out with one license to check it out for themselves.
So I think I'm going to log out and
you might have
back in.
I need to look and see who else is in here still in the old system.
Now, it does not allow me to change my username. Are you able to?
I am not able to, but my development team is.
So someone's able to? Okay.
Yeah. I don't think I can. Oh, I can. What would you like it to be?
We're just going to change the domain from mspwebinars.com to RocketMSP.io.
Done.
Cool.
People will be talking about the riveting podcast where they watch passwords get changed live on screen.
Well, the good news is I'm not sharing your screen yet, so nobody knows.
So they get to listen to us talk about changing passwords on screen. That's also exciting.
There we
Not
go.
password, but usernames.
So now it doesn't say anything about manage. It says manage, but it doesn't say license. Doesn't tell me how many.
There should be a subscriptions link on the. Let's see. Let me pull mine up here. You should be seeing a page that looks like what's on my shared screen here.
Well, here, can I pull it up for them?
Yeah, go for it.
You don't mind?
Yeah. So this is the standard reseller screen. If you're not seeing this on the old interface, but yeah. So there's a little 5-minute overview. You go to buy a subscription, and then this is the pricing. So it starts at 5 users for $19 a month, 20 users for $59.
Gotcha. Yeah, it was trying to sell it to me for like $4 a user, which was great.
That's the old MSP pricing. Yeah.
That still isn't like, I was like, wow, it's only $4.
Oh yeah.
And now you're telling me it's 20 cents cheaper. five for 19 or something like that, right?
That is true to start, and then it goes down from there. Yeah.
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 So
The old pricing was $4 a user. There were different programs, but the old pricing was basically $4 a user, no matter what. With the tiered pricing, you buy blocks of users, and it gets down as low as for $10,000, or sorry, for $1,000 a month, that you get 10,000 users. So basically 10 cents per user per month.
that's pretty great. So the pricing on this thing, it's like, duh. If you can get it from anywhere from $4, $3.80, whatever you want to call it, down to 10 cents per user, and you don't have to buy a license for each tenant, if you will, or client, or whatever you want to call it. You get to buy them as the actual MSP, and then divvy them out to your clients as you see fit. Why wouldn't you do that?
This is a new update that's coming, but this is my old MSP. You can see in here under the Teams tab, they provisioned all of their, or not all, but a lot of their customers, into different teams. And the advantage of that is each team can have its own branding. So you can put in the customer logo, or you can put in your own logo, whichever way you want to do it. And each team can also be managed by a team leader. So, for example, if somebody at that organization wants to be able to run reports on their user activity, or wants to be able to create their own training for their own users, all of that is segmented by team. So, you can trust that whoever is logging in for McCoy Wright here is only going to be able to run reports on McCoy Wright's people. And if they add any custom training, it'll only be available to the people that are in the McCoy Wright team.
So, I'm impressed. Like, now that I'm inside it, so I had to click on languages to roll it up and then open it again. And now it actually lets me see the languages. But I'm also on Mac OS 12 beta Monterey. So, because I'm that a-hole, like, they announced something new at WWDC. Why would I wait? I'm going to install the developer beta right now. Like, I don't even wait for the public beta, man. I'm that a-hole. So
you shouldn't be seeing a language roll up. I'll check on that too. Oh, you may be seeing a beta on our side too. We are working on multi-language support for the backend portal.
Oh yeah, because I see English, Spanish, and Spanish. Because you got Mexico and Spain Spanish.
Interesting. Okay, so you're seeing a beta you shouldn't be seeing. I'll see what's going on with that.
That's even better. This is great. I'm going to see content that doesn't even exist yet, guys.
Yeah, because we do have courses now in Spanish language. In fact, so one of the new things we're doing, since we're here, let's see.
Lo elemento de Microsoft Teams.
Yes, whatever you said.
I think it says the elements of Microsoft Teams.
Oh yeah, okay. So this is a new interface we're working on where you can actually get to the courses here. And so I think if I search on the word Spanish, I'll start to see these 5 courses right now are actually dubbed into Spanish audio. So if we go to Outlook Online.
So are you saying it's going to be like trying to watch a Bruce Lee movie where, their mouth is doing like this?
Yes.
Hello.
Exactly. It sounds just like me is the amazing thing. No. It's a little weird.
Wait, what?
Huh?
No, it doesn't sound like you at all. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, it does? Do you know Spanish?
Yeah, not even a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're getting more customers in Mexico and more customers that have bilingual staff. We've had support for multi-language transcripts for a while. So, like, if we look at, I don't know, our time management course has the most. So over here on the right, you can pull up this transcript. And so a lot of people like to follow along, even in English, just because maybe they got the sound down or whatever. So it flashes where you're at. But if you want
like it. It needs a little bubble bouncing over it instead, though.
Was that?
I said you need the little bubble that bounces on top instead, though.
Oh, yeah, that's technology we don't have yet.
Yeah, I know. I'm teasing you.
So one day.
Now, with what you guys are doing, is everything teleprompter? Is any of it unscripted? Like,
The vast majority of ours is unscripted, actually. Now that
really?
time management course is teleprompter. We have three styles. The vast majority of our courses are what we call teacher learner. It's where we have two
Mhm.
people on camera. One is teaching the other. There's no script at all. I mean, we will have some bullet points. Obviously, there's a checklist they're working from. There's some key points that the director's checking off to make sure get covered. But it's really live training because it's so much more enjoyable to watch somebody talking naturally than it is to watch somebody reading off a script.
Sure.
So wherever possible, we use that, especially for any of the software training. With what we call our Brain Bites courses, which are very short, very fast paced. That's what that time management course is. Those are teleprompted because they are short and fast paced. And then we have what we call our Millennial Manager series, which are kind of a combination. What makes them different is they'll have like our active shooter course will actually have scenes of people reacting in an active shooter situation, and we talk about how to strategize for hiding places and how to strategize for protecting yourself and what you can use to fight back and things like that. So we act out some of that with actors on a live set. But then we intercut between that and teachers in the studio that are actually going through the material. And that's partially scripted. Some of it is teleprompted and some of it's natural reaction.
All right. All right. So I beat you up on your security and your app or lack thereof. Uh, Tech support. Do you guys ever do tech support besides, when somebody hasn't opened or touched anything in 39 months?
We do. The funniest thing about us as a company is most of the tech support comes to me. I mean, we have a staff of 35 people, but the CEO does most of the tech support, and it's because there's very little of it. It just doesn't come up very often, and so we can't really justify having a full-time staff person that's up to speed on all of the customer support pieces. But it does come up, fairly rarely with MSPs. Of course, there's all the usual password resets and situations like yours. If someone had bought licenses prior to 2018, then they may still be stuck on the old interface, and so we have to fix that. And actually, Nancy Williams manages our MSP channel program, and she does take care of a lot of that. On the rare occasions where we have a technical compatibility issue, we do have a development team that gets involved. And actually, we had a staff meeting today, and they were bragging about the fact that they've generally resolved those in a matter of hours. So it's not a question of days; it's a question of hours. Which in other customer service situations may sound like a long time, but very often these are situations where somebody is trying to get our content to work in some very non-standard, very bizarre learning management platform, and they're having to write custom code to get our content to adapt to the learning platform, and they're able to do it in a couple hours. So they do a pretty good job.
That's pretty great. Now, you said that there's the MSP dashboard, and you showed us how we can buy licensing. How easy is this to deploy to a customer? I feel like there's two different scenarios. Scenario one is new customer, not of you, a new customer of the MSP. MSP's already using Bigger Brains. They've got it rolled out to the other customers. How do we roll it out to our new customer?
So there's a couple of pieces. Let me show you on the screen here if I can get to it.
Sure.
So in our so when I'm logged in as a reseller, there's a marketing tab, and one of the things that I want to grab here, actually I may have lied, maybe back on the home screen.
I do remember seeing it.
Yeah, there's this client quick start guide. So this is a quick PDF you can grab and print. You can customize it if you want to and give to your client. It's really pretty straightforward. The nice thing is you can set up our program so that your client logs in through your website, through the MSP's website. So for example, if they haven't changed it, if I go to my old MSP's website, they have a services page and they have an online training page. And if it comes up, I don't know what hosting platform they're using anymore. There we are. So I can actually log in from here. So the instructions to the client would literally be, go to our website, click on training, enter this username and password, and boom, you're in. I don't think I've got any usernames and passwords that would work here. But when they log in, they're going to see this page. Yes, they're going to come straight in, and it's fairly straightforward. From there, you click on Classroom. We are in the process of changing this interface, so there'll be a choice that the reseller can choose, the MSP can choose. Our traditional classroom experience is clicking on this, which takes you into the formal learning management system. This is great, but it's overkill for a lot of users, and so we're going to give MSPs the option of choosing between this traditional classroom, which some MSPs do like because it does have some extra features, or using our new classroom experience, which is more like this one here.
Ooh.
But that's a work in progress. This is behind the scenes. Nobody else has seen this yet, but this will be out hopefully sometime in July.
That is really cool. And obviously, us being IT people, we all know that sometime in July means hopefully July, maybe November. Like we get it. Development is weird, but I'm sure for the most part, you guys are able to meet or at least come really close to those deadlines.
Yeah. No, to your point, very rarely do we hit the deadlines. But in this case, they're very close. We had a meeting with the team last week, and they're almost ready to launch now. So I feel like July is pretty safe. We'll
good, see. Really good. All right, so you've got a little PDF that we give to our client. We tell them here's how you get logged in, and now they're logged in and they're looking at the classroom, whichever classroom they're looking at, and they're like, okay, awkward at the office, email management, organizing your files, active shooters, sharing a workspace. What do I want to watch? There's a lot of videos here, man. I don't even know. Like, they don't expect me to watch all these, do they?
Yeah, that's a good point. And one of the differences between the new classroom and the old classroom is we don't yet have an ability to curate that list for the new classroom. We do for the old classroom. With the old classroom, if I go back to the main screen here, if I go into the classroom, and this is actually configured as an admin account, this is what a normal user would see. These courses that appear on the dashboard here, these are configured by the manager. So if the manager at the client site, or if you as the IT professional really wants everybody to take that cybersecurity course, there's a way you can log in and assign that course to all the users, so it's the first thing they see when they log into their dashboard here. We don't yet have that for the new classroom. That's one of the remaining pieces they're working on, but we will have that before it launches.
All right, now I'm running an MSP chip that I'm really focused and dedicated to providing excellent cybersecurity. And one of the things that I require my clients to do is some cybersecurity training. How can I be certain that they're doing it?
Yeah, so well, a couple of things. You can run reports on activity, including completions. In fact, since this test user I was using has apparently been configured as an administrator, I have the reports tab over here. So I can come over here and I can run a report on, in this case, I want to run a SCORM report. And this is a demo account, so there's nothing actually happening here. Normally, I would see a list of who's completed what. Let me show you in my Microsoft Teams to give you an idea of what it might look like otherwise. So in Microsoft Teams, I'm going to go to the Teams app. So similar sort of interface, but inside Microsoft Teams. I'm a manager, so when I click on View Report, I can see all the activity in my team. And if I want to click on User Reports and then choose a user, I can see, for example, what courses has Alexandria taken. She's taken a lot. But for your example, if I wanted to look at who's completed the cybersecurity training, I would go to the course report. I would choose, for example, Staying Safe Online, and then I can see everybody who's completed that course. So I can see that Melanie's completed it, Kathy has started it, but she's not completed it. She's 43% done. Now, this is a function that a manager within that organization has, but we also have the ability to give MSPs kind of super user access to the same report for the teams that are under their account. So the MSP could run this similar report for any team that they're a part of.
And just so we can be clear, you're doing this through Teams, right? Right now?
Yes.
Okay.
It would actually work the same. This would work exactly the same in the classroom, in the new classroom experience. If I had a new classroom, if I had a team that I knew had taken some courses lately that I could show you. My demo team, they haven't accessed in a while.
So let me ask you this. If you go back into Teams,
Mhm.
is this really just like we've got a website, here you go, and it loads in the Teams app? Or is it actually a Teams like app, if that makes sense?
I mean, so it's kind of an in-between question. Most Teams apps are built on HTML and XML. So,
Okay.
I mean, it is kind of fundamentally a website. But there's
Got
also
it.
a lot of information being passed back and forth. So depending on how the app has been set up, the way that it knows who you are as a user is coming from your Teams ID. The way it
Got it.
knows whether or not you are a manager and can get that report access is coming from our database, whether or not you're flagged as a manager, but then the Teams app will respond differently. If I were not a manager and I went to the Run Report tab, or this one here, I wouldn't be seeing everybody's activity. Normal users can't see what all the rest of the users are doing. Normal users only see their own activity. But a manager sees this dashboard where they're going to see the activity across all users. So it is a website, but there's some interaction with the data coming from Teams as well.
Okay. All right, so I see how to set up a new customer of mine in Bigger Brains. I see how to make them take that course and see who's started it, who's completed it, that type of stuff. Now let's say, wow, I didn't realize Bigger Brains was this flippin' cool, man. I want to sign up and deploy this to all of my clients. What's the easiest way to do that without making me want to pull my hair out?
Yeah, so a couple of options. If you are, well, the traditional option would be, let's go back to our team management page here, or no, this reseller page here. So as a reseller, you would come in and you would create a team for each of your clients.
Okay.
And for each of those clients, you would do, you can do a CSV upload of all of their employees. I mean, either you can enter them one at a time, or if you have them in a spreadsheet or in ConnectWise or something, you can export a spreadsheet and update it from that. That works well for, for our sort of traditional use case. And once they're added here, they can access it from our online portal. They can also access it from our Teams app. So both work once they've been created here. Another option, of course, is things like Cloud Radial and Desk Director. With Cloud Radial and Desk Director, if you're using those, they kind of manage the users from there, right? So if you have the users already configured in Cloud Radial or Desk Director, or if they're synchronized from your ConnectWise or Autotask or whatever you're using for a RMM or a PSA these days, then you can just turn on and off those training features from inside the app on that side, which is definitely an easier management experience from that side of things. But yeah, on the traditional experience, you would set up each team, you would upload the CSV. If you want to add the code to your website so they can log in from your website, that's on the marketing tab. We have this Dropbox link that includes instructions for how to post that code to your website. It's pretty easy. You can generally do it in 5 minutes. Yeah, and then you're good to go. Then start sending out the onboarding emails with that quick start flyer, the quick start guide here, and you're good to go. The only other things you want to configure is if you want to give anybody within each organization the ability to run management reports, then you would go into that team. So for example, here I am under the CT Anderson account. If I go into the teams, I'll look at this particular team. I'm going to manage it. And I'll notice that I've got one team leader. See the big check mark here? That means Scott Smith can run management reports. Nobody else can. But let's say that I want to give Sylvia the ability to do that. Well, then I can go and click on her account, can use promote, demote, check the box. Yes, this is a team leader, update. And now if I go back to, oops, sorry, I'm clicking around too many places. So now Sylvia is checked as a team leader. So now when she logs in, she's going to see a different interface. She'll have the ability to run reports, add content, and all that sort of thing. Or if she's in the Teams app, she'll be able to run reports on all users, not just for herself.
This is cool, man. And I mean, I think that you made that easy. I don't even have any follow-up questions like, well, what if this? No, it's like, okay, cool. All right, so we set it up for all of our clients at once, and we set it up for the new client as if we're, already a Bigger Brains reseller actively using it. How do we encourage our clients to log in every so often? Hey, have you seen the latest course they just came out with? How many do you come out with?
It's usually 3 or 4 a month, either new or updated. And yeah, that's a big area where we need to improve on. Now, we do send out a newsletter to our MSPs. It's been once a quarter, then we kind of dropped. We tried doing once a month at the start of this year. We didn't do a good job keeping up with it, to be honest, so it's kind of dropped back to once a quarter. But one of the things we highlighted in there is all the new courses, everything that's come out in the last quarter, any new features, like the new BrainBot features, the new Teams app, things like that. And there's always links to like the course description guides, all the marketing collateral that goes along with the courses. So it would be a fairly easy thing to take some of that, literature, take some of that text and some of that artwork and marketing copy, and put it into however you normally communicate with your clients. If you're sending out an email newsletter, if you're doing any kind of online, blast, or if you're putting out news messages through SharePoint or through something like a Cloud Radio or Desk Director. You can take that, whatever you think is going to be relevant to your clients in terms of those new courses, and push that out to them. And that really does help keep it top of mind, because it is one of those things that is super easy to forget. Particularly, it's one of those things that we made this as something that was going to be inexpensive enough that it's an easy add-on to any managed services plan. But kind of for that reason, a lot of customers get access to it and forget they have access to it because they bought the managed service plan. They didn't buy, the training necessarily. And so reminding them that it's there can go a long way towards, number one, helping them use it more, but also reminding them of the value that they're getting from their relationship with, you and your managed services company, which I think is important because otherwise that is kind of easy to forget.
Absolutely. I mean, if it's the same with literally every company, you need to be top of mind. You need to be reminding them that, hey, I exist. And sometimes, we need to be doing that for simply some of the services we offer, because sometimes we're just giving so much to our clients. I mean, we're selling, but you know what I mean. We give so much, and sometimes they just, choice overload. What service do I play with first? Like, it's not even which course do I take. Like, do I want to play with Cloud Radio? Do I want to play with Bigger Brains? Do I want to play with the Autotask portal? Do I want to check out the gosh, now I can't even think of its name. The Connect Booster portal. Like, obviously some of these things are all integrated. So the goal would be like, you just log into Cloud Radio and you'd be done. But again, my point is sometimes there's like 18 things that we give to clients. Like, if you want to submit a ticket, you do this. If you want to view our tickets, you do this. If you want to see if we have any recommendations, you go here. Like, so it's a lot of things, even if they're just in Cloud Radio. Like, which button do I want to click today? Like,
well, and I know for myself, and I've seen some other techs are this way, not all, but the way that my brain works, I'm kind of logical and analytical, and I think a lot of people in the technical industry are, and so there's a part of my brain that says, Well, I've told them about this training, and therefore I'm done. Or I've given them access to these tools. I've given them access to these resources, so they must automatically understand how valuable it is. And what I've learned is no, that's not the case. Customers really don't appreciate the services that we offer. They don't appreciate the value they're getting from us as managed service providers. And I'm not speaking specifically about bigger brains here, but if one thing that I've noticed from competitors that I've tried to pick up is, for example, if you respond to a service call, if you drop everything and head straight out because it's an important client on a gold plan or whatever, make sure you tell them that. Even though you like to think, well, they know I dropped everything and I'm here to take care of them. No, that they may not. And this is why I've seen a lot of MSPs that have trouble keeping customers on service plans, because the customer just believes that, well, Steve's just this nice guy who does all these great things for me. I don't really see a need to pay money every month for this because, Steve's going to take care of me no matter what. Likewise, just because we told them about something like the, cloud backup that we're doing for them, or the, online training they have access to, or the, DNS protection service that we're offering to them, it really is kind of an out of sight, out of mind thing unless we remind them about it. But we have to keep mentioning that value and bragging about it. And again, my personality type is not one that would ever brag about myself. But I've learned that if I don't, reinforce these things that I'm doing for my clients, my competitors are going to come in and say, hey, well, we're going to offer this DNS filtering service. We're going to offer online training if you switch to us. And my client might say, oh, that sounds good. We don't have that now. And, and leave me for that, even though I was offering the same thing. So, I've come around to the idea that you can't really over communicate with clients, especially when it comes to the value that we're providing, and making sure they understand everything that we have to offer, because truth be told, they're busy. We're a very small part of what they do. Hopefully, and most of the time when they are thinking about us, it's because there's a problem somewhere. We need to make sure that they're understanding all these good things that we're doing that are keeping them from having problems, that are helping them to be more productive, and we need to brag about it more often.
This is great stuff, man. Do I don't know if anyone watching has any questions. I know that some of the people kind of came in real late, so it's possible your question was answered an hour and a half ago. Chip, is there anything that you wanted to go over that maybe you haven't?
No, I think we've covered all the important stuff. Teams app's cool. New updates coming for the MSP portal. The MSP website's a little outdated at biggermsp.com, but we'll work on that sometime this summer. Other than that, we covered all the big stuff.
Very good, man. Well, hey, Chip, thank you so much for being here and letting me, poke at you about your outdated security practices and your awesome app that you're going to make now that I told you need to make one. I do hope that you're able to do some of that stuff, just because I think it's going to add a lot of value and encourage user adoption, to have some of those features.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. We'll definitely head in that direction.
Yes. So, yeah, I love it. Guys, go to bigger-brains.com to learn more, or biggermsp.com to learn more specifically for MSPs. Chip, do they, if someone wants to sign up, do they get like NFRs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you sign up at biggermsp.com, you'll get an automated email back. Nancy Williams is going to manually validate that you are an MSP, because our MSP pricing is so much lower than anything else we offer. So we only offer it to people that we can tell are actual MSPs or IT service providers, or in the industry. And Nancy's actually on a plane to Guam right now, so if you're applying today, it might take 24 hours. Usually she's pretty quick. But then once she sends you your sign up credentials, there's a free, in that subscription list we saw, the top one is the free NFR. That gets you a free user account that you can set up to go through the whole user experience and take all the courses for yourself. Try them out, see what you think. Feel free to send in any feedback or comments, and let us know what you think.
Awesome. So yeah, go get signed up, check it out for yourself. Make sure that I think that having NFR is awesome because now you get to watch some of these courses. You may think you're a team expert, and you're going to realize, oh, I can do that too. Take the course. It's there. Go through it, and maybe you'll think one of two things or both things. I learned something new, and I really think this would be great for my clients. So, yeah, get signed up, try it out yourself, start deploying it to some clients. Start making yourself more sticky for your clients. There are a lot of IT companies in your area, and I bet most of them are not doing anything with bigger brains. You'd be surprised. Like most of the IT companies around you aren't using cloud radio. Many of them might not be using a PSA or an RMM. Like you have a bigger advantage than you think, guys, but stuff like this is going to elevate you even further to help you stand out from the competition.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all that stuff. And I will catch you all at the next episode. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, everybody.